Hi, Luli and Annie. Today we're going to learn about future sources of energy. I'm gonna share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing, and I'm gonna make my face bigger. Okay, we are ready, girls. Okay, for the vocabulary today, we have the word biomass. Okay, in Spanish means biomasa. It's any organic material that can be converted into energy or a source of energy. Examples are garbage, liquid wastes, and manure. Okay. Um, we have the word efficient, eficiente, able to produce with little or no waste. Means that you're doing something without wasting anything. Machinery, maquinaria, a machine or groups of machines, equipment used to do work. Okay. Um, so we have been learning about the chemical energy found in oil, in coal, and natural gas, and that it's been really important for our planet the last years because that gives us energy. Many people will discover different ways that our use of these limited resources may be more efficient, maybe. But many scientists are actually using their abilities to improve or use other energy resources. They have to make these energy sources easy to use. They have to be efficient, meaning that we don't waste, because we in the planet we have a lot of people and we don't want to waste resources. We have to um, use them wisely so there's enough for everyone. And we have to make them affordable, meaning that everybody can pay for those. So they have to be cheap. Some energies considered for more use in our future are solar energy, nuclear energy, geothermal energy, and energy from biomass. Okay, and I'm going to explain a little bit about each of them now. Okay, we have the solar energy. Actually, this is one of my favorites because what it means to use. Okay, the solar energy, it changes the sun's light energy into heat energy or into electrical energy. People use it to heat water and the air inside buildings. Solar solar cells are like this, like what you have here in these panels, or you have here in this calculator, in this part, or in this satellite, okay? Solar cells convert solar energy into electrical energy. Are also used as an electrical energy source for many satellites in space, like I was speaking, and the International Space Station. For example, if you saw the launching of the rocket, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, they were launching a rocket to go here to the International Space Station, and they get power from solar energy because these parts here are solar panels. Okay. Also, you have solar panels in a calculator. Those are like examples of something that you already know. Okay. Solar energy is a good choice for supplying energy needs of the future. It has some advantages. First, that the sun's light rays are free. You don't have to pay for them. Yay. And a clean energy source because it doesn't produce pollution. But it has some problems, okay? Problems is that the sunlight on Earth is thinly distributed over a wide area. Like what we were talking before, that some parts of the Earth get more direct sunlight and other parts get less direct sunlight, okay? Um, and seeing it so thinly distributed, it has to be collected and concentrated to produce significant amounts of energy. Building solar collectors and machinery equipped to use solar energy are expensive and very large. And prices are way higher than just using fossil fuels. That's why people keep using fossil fuels and don't change to like a cleaner resource because it's expensive to start to switch. And then because we have no sunlight at nighttime or when there is bad weather, which would interrupt the supply of sunlight. That would be bad, right? Because if it's night or if it's rain and you're using solar, then you don't have energy. You can store the heat energy in batteries, but heat doesn't stay stored for much. And after a while, heat is being wasted to the surrounding air. Okay, so that's the downside of solar energy. Okay, some new homes and buildings are being built to take advantage of the sun's light to make partial use of solar energy, meaning that they use regular electricity, but they also use solar energy. I think that's kind of like the future of where we are going as a society. They also use normal electrical supplies, but use solar panels to help warm and cool the building, okay? And they position the house in a way that it better utilizes the sunlight, okay? And so they need less electricity in these homes, and the owners can save some money because sunlight is free, okay? And I put a picture here of these type of houses that has a lot of solar panels on the roof. Okay, now we're gonna talk about nuclear energy, okay? Nuclear energy is already one of the main sources of energy in our world today. About 6% of energy in the world comes from nuclear energy, and about 8% for the United States, okay? It provides huge amounts of energy for a small, really small amount of fuel, okay? Our nuclear energy comes from the process known as nuclear fission. When I talk about fissions, like with an I, um, it means that I'm like you are splitting atoms, okay? Atom nucleus, okay? In this process, the atomic nucleus of an element like uranium, and here I give you an example, a picture of uranium, which is an element, um, is split. The splitting of the nucleus of an atom releases a large amount of energy, especially heat energy. And to capture that release of energy, a nuclear reactor, like this picture here, is used. The reactor controls the splitting of the nucleus so that too much energy will not result. The heat is used to produce steam from water, and that steam operates machines to generate electricity or to power submarines and other ships. Okay, the advantages of nuclear energy is that a nuclear power plant uses much less fuel than one using coal or oil. And there is also less pollution released into the atmosphere, but it has some problems, okay? Certain elements like uranium are good sources of nuclear fuel, but there are limited amounts of it and could be used up. So we would be like back in square one. Then they give off harmful radiation like the atomic reactions. Usually there are many protective devices using nuclear power to provide safety and shut down the nuclear reactor if problems develop, but accidents could happen, causing serious health problems over a large area for many people. So if you have a spill of harmful radiation, then you can get people really, really sick and they can die. So that's a really big downside. And also another problem is that you have waste products from nuclear facilities. First, you have hot wastewater that is also produced when people use nuclear energy and has to cool down before it is discharged into the environment. Also, nuclear plants can generate radioactive wastes that must be disposed of in a long-term disposal facilities deep underground, like this picture here. They put it in barrels. And those wastes remain dangerous for long periods of time. Okay, and there's another type of nuclear energy. We talked before about fission, but now we're going to talk about fusion with a U, okay? Fusion involves combining, putting together atomic nuclei to form a heavier nucleus. In this process, enormous amounts of energy are released. Nuclear fusion produces the heat and light of the sun and other stars, so it's really powerful. It also provides the explosive force in the hydrogen bomb. And here I have a picture of how a bomb like that detonates, okay? In these atomic fusion reactions, hydrogen nuclei are combined to produce helium, okay? Hydrogen is an element like this one here. And I have another picture of how a hydrogen molecule would look. Scientists and engineers are working on various ways to control better nuclear fission reactions to produce energy for
It's
our
7
use.
hours.
Oh, sorry, Chris, that's time on my computer. experimental fusion reactors use forms of hydrogen for fuel, which is good because these forms can be found in large quantities in the world's ocean. So it could provide an unlimited or almost unlimited source of fuel to supply our energy in the future. Fusion devices are safer than those using nuclear fission. Also, it doesn't create a waste disposal problem because most of the waste products from fusion reactor are not radioactive, so that's a plus, but there's a problem. This doesn't produce enough usable amounts of energy yet, so scientists need to keep researching about using nuclear fusion for energy, okay? Okay, then we have geothermal energy. The Earth contains much heat below its surface. Okay, remember that we have hot rocks underneath the crust in the mantle. Geothermal energy is produced whenever water comes in contact with the hot rocks below the Earth's surface. So the hot rocks heat the water enough to turn part of all of it into steam. If wells are drilled, wells mean un pozo, are drilled into the earth to contact this hot water and steam, it can be pumped up to the Earth's surface. If there is no underground water or steam naturally, water can be pumped down. You can put water down in the earth through wells into the ground so that water is heated by rocks. And then hot water and steam can be used on the surface of the earth to generate electricity or to provide heat energy. The earth contains much heat below its surface. Oh, sorry, that part we already talked about. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the advantages and disadvantages of it. The advantage is that it's already being used in the United States or some other countries to provide some part of the energy of the world. The problem is that it can only be used in places where the hot rocks lie somewhat close to the surface. So if you don't have, if your crust is really thick, then you can use it. So that's a problem. And then we're gonna talk about biomass energy, okay? Biomass is any organic material that can be converted into energy or a source of energy. It includes many solid and liquid waste products like garbage, basura, scrap paper, manure, abono. Burning biomass like solid and liquid wastes can produce heat energy and electricity. Many cities throughout the world burn their trash to produce electrical power for their people. Some paper and lumber mills, son lugares donde procesan la madera y el papel, also burn waste wood to generate steam for their plants so they can keep producing in their factories, okay? And here I have a picture of different things that they use, like organic trash, scrap wood, or also here, something that is common in India, they use manure, cow dung or cow poop, and they burn it and use it as fuel. And then here I have another example. In Brazil, they use something called ethanol. Ethanol is biomass from sugarcane, caña de azúcar, and they convert that to fuel, okay? And here, okay. Biomass can even be treated with bacteria or chemicals to produce fuels such as synthetic gas, methane, and fuel oil. Manure, sewage, and solid wastes from landfills can be used this way. These fuels are then burned to obtain heat energy and electricity. Some farmers grow sugarcane, caña de azúcar, trees, seaweed, which means algas, and other crops to serve as biomass for energy production. It has some advantages, like biomass is plentiful. We have a lot of waste in the world. It can be renewed and replaced because we're always having some waste. It reduces the amount of trash that is placed in the landfill, so less trash. It recovers potential energy that otherwise would be wasted or lost. But there's one big problem. It causes pollution when you burn it. So you're causing the same amount of pollution like fossil fuels. So I think it's an alternative energy source, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's not green. it's polluting the planet. Okay, that would be it, girls.